I've been thinking a lot lately about self trust, and I think sometimes we misunderstand what it means. We think trusting ourselves means being confident, knowing exactly what to do, making the right decision, not having doubts. But I don't think that's actually self trust because many of the most important decisions in our lives don't come with certainty. You don't know for sure if the relationship will work, if the business decision will succeed, if starting over will lead you where you hope. And yet, we keep waiting to feel sure. So we ask one more person. We search online. We replay the conversation. We think and rethink again. And sometimes, after all of that, we are not clearer. We're actually further away from ourselves than when we started. I don't think most people wake up one morning and decide, I'm not going to trust myself anymore. I think it happens gradually. Maybe you made a mistake and start questioning your judgment. Maybe someone repeatedly questions your choices. Maybe you become really skilled at reading everyone else in the room, what they need, what they expect, what will disappoint them. And somewhere along the way, you stop asking, what do I think? What do I want? What actually feels true to me? And I want to be clear about something. I'm not saying advice is bad. I believe deeply in expertise. Some of the most important growth in my own life and career came from learning to surround myself with people who knew more than I did in their own fields. I've worked with mentors, coaches, experts, people whose perspective helped me see things I could not see alone. But there's a difference between seeking perspective and abandoning your own voice. Because when you collect enough opinions, you don't just have a decision anymore. You have other people's fears, values, histories, and preferences sitting inside your mind. And then you wonder why you can't hear yourself. And highly capable people can struggle with this too. You can be successful and still second guess yourself. You can be the person everyone else comes to for advice and still want someone to tell you what to do with your own life. Being capable is not the same thing as trusting yourself. I know this personally. I built a successful company. I grew it to around 60 employees, and I sold it at 36 years old. I knew how to make decisions inside a world I understood. I knew how to solve problems, move quickly, lead people, respond when things went wrong. But after I sold the company, the questions changed. The business had become such a large part of my identity that I had to begin asking, who am I without it? What do I actually want now? What kind of work feels meaningful to me? What kind of life do I want to have now? And I searched for answers. I asked friends, I researched, I hired a coach, I spoke with senior experts. Many of those perspectives were valuable, but eventually I had to recognize something. No one else could fully answer what is right for me. That required a different kind of self trust. And for me, rebuilding that trust became much more practical than simply telling myself to trust my gut. I learned to get quieter. I meditated. I journaled. I started observing my own patterns. When I considered different possibilities, I paid attention to what happened inside me and what happened afterward. Did the fear settle? Was something wrong for me, or was it simply difficult or unfamiliar? Over time, I began learning my own patterns, not because every feeling is intuition, it isn't, and not because discomfort always means no, it doesn't, but because self trust for me became a relationship of observation, listening, pausing, learning. And that's one reason I care so much about the work I do now. I don't want to become one more person telling someone else what they should do with their life. I am much more interested in helping people slow down the noise and notice their own patterns and reconnect with what they actually want. Because self trust doesn't mean I know I'm right. Maybe it means I'm willing to listen to myself, make the best decision I can with what I know now, and trust myself to respond to what happens next. So I want to leave you with one question. What would I do differently if I trusted myself just 10% more? Maybe you'd stop asking one more person. Maybe you'd say no. Maybe you'd say yes. Maybe you'd take one small step. Maybe you'd admit what you actually want. It doesn't have to be dramatic because perhaps self trust isn't something we suddenly find. Perhaps it's something we build in the small moments when we listen to ourselves, make a choice, and discover that whatever happens next, we can meet it